All right, we are back with a return of one of our new segments from last season that we are definitely going to carry on throughout this season. Our Badass of the Week, where we take the best stats from all five players from all five teams that we cover here. We are stacked this week. We've got a 2-week span basically that we're covering. I think we're going to have to break it down at least this week between pitchers. Maybe we'll have a Badass of the Week pitcher and a Badass of the Week position player because there's a lot going on here. I think you've got all the stats over there, but
I
you want to
do.
go through the pitchers?
Sure. All right. Here are our nominees for Badass of the Week. Pitchers. Number 1, Garrett Crochet, who we talked about earlier
You almost made me spit
tonight.
out my beer right there.
Garrett Crochet, who we talked about earlier tonight. 18 innings pitched, 21 Ks, a 2 ERA, and a 6.67 whip. Boing!
Whew.
Too bad he's on a team that's going nowhere.
Mm.
Up next, impressive start to his MLB career for the Chicago Cubs, Shota Imanaga. 10 innings pitched, 12 Ks, no runs, a .4 whip. Now, was that a 5 and a 5 or is that a 6 and a 4 for the 10 innings?
I can't remember now. Good question.
Okay.
I'm not sure why it matters, but yes.
Just curious. I was wondering. I wasn't sure if there was
All
like a rain shortened game or something. Jason Foley, who does he play for?
Oh, come on. He shoved it up the ass of your Chicago White Sox in the opening series from my Detroit Tigers.
Oh, Jason Foley from the Detroit Tigers with 3 saves, 5.1 innings pitched, 7 Ks, no earned runs, and a .938 whip.
I had to throw a Tiger in there. There wasn't a whole lot of other going on with our pitchers this week.
Nah.
I thought it was a interesting conversation. I thought we could have an interesting conversation about Shota Imanaga and Garrett Crochet, for the fact that Imanaga has yet to give up an earned run. He has been aided by the winds of Wrigley Field tremendously in his 2 starts. We're blowing in. So he is a classic fly ball pitcher, and home runs have been a problem for him in his Japanese league career. I fear that will be an issue for him going forward, but it has not clearly so far. Garrett Crochet has been fucking dominant, although you and I both think it's going to be short-lived. We'll see how long he is able to do this throughout the season, but from the sample size we have here, he is a fantastic starting pitcher in the making. I think that'll probably last into June, and then we'll see. But I think for now, I'd have to give him my Badass of the Week for our pitchers.
Well, good, because I was going to just plead that we give it to him so I get one White Sox Badass of the Week in here this season, because this is going to – I mean, he may be – Lewis Robert was like a reoccurring figure last year in Badass of the Week, and he might be –
He was Badass of the Year, was he not?
Yeah, we did declare him Badass of the Year, yeah.
It was every week. We could have named him Badass of the Week many other weeks. We just chose not to.
We did.
Because it got boring. But so you had plenty on that realm. You're not going to see as much this year. So I understand that sentiment.
So, yeah, all right. We can agree that it is Garrett Crochet pitching Badass of the Week.
Okay.
All right. Now we're going to move over to Badass of the Week for hitters. We're going to start off with Shea Langeliers, member of Backdoor Sliders, who also is Garrett Crochet is also a member of Backdoor Sliders. So I think
that would be your fantasy team.
Yeah, I think
your crassly named fantasy team.
It's only crass because of the chocolate donut as my logo, I think, which makes you sick, but which is why we'll never change it.
I also like that you are the Backdoor Slider.
That's right.
You're not just Backdoor Slider.
That's right.
I am the Ohio State.
Exactly.
Is that your reference there?
Thank you. Very good. Very good. You're smart using the noggin. So Shea,
I didn't know you had any affiliation with the Ohio State, but congratulations.
I'm also the Veneri at att.net. So send me your email.
Oh, that's right.
Send me your thoughts, everyone. I just gave that out on the fucking podcast.
That's your personal Twitter feed too, isn't it? The Veneri?
Yeah.
Okay. Now it all comes together. I see what's happening here.
There's only one really. My brother.
The definite article.
Yeah. So All right. Anyway, back. Shea Langeliers for the Oakland Athletics. 4 home runs, 4 runs, 7 RBIs, a 144 OPS. Here is one of my favorite nominees this week. For the Chicago Cubs, Christopher Morel. 3 home runs, including a grand salami. 11 runs.
431-foot grand slam.
Yeah. 11 runs to go along with 10 ribbies. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And 141
That's a hell of a couple weeks.
OPS plus. How about this? The guy that every White Sox fan wanted last season ended up on the Giants, had an okay, season with the Giants last year, but Michael Conforto for the San Francisco Giants with 3 home runs, 8 runs, 11 RBIs, and 175 OPS plus.
I almost missed him on our list completely. Like I didn't see that right away. And then I saw he had 3 home runs. His 175 OPS plus is rather impressive too. So he's off to that hot offensive start.
Yeah. And that's, I should have talked about it during the Giants segment, but that's the Michael Conforto that everyone wanted. That the reason to sign him was this possibility. So we're seeing the upside right now. Anyway, moving on again, somehow it's dismal as they are at 2-10. The Chicago White Sox, Gavin Sheets, 2 home runs, 4 runs, 7 RBIs, a stolen base. And wait a minute, folks. This is off the fucking charts. A 229 OPS plus. Unbelievable.
Did I just type that wrong? Did I send that in the text wrong, or is that real? 229 plus.
No, it's real.
OPS
I had it up on the on my monitor here.
What is that base? I mean, is his OBP that high, or what? I mean, with only 2 home runs, is every other one of his hits a double or a triple?
He's been lacing doubles, like he's getting a bonus per double hit. In fact, in last night's game with the 5 RBIs, he had a home run and 2 doubles.
Jesus Christ. We're not going to see another 229 OPS plus, I think, in Badass of the Week.
Probably not. But coming up next, another Chicago Cub continuing his torrid pace from the second half of last season, except for those last couple weeks. Seiya Suzuki, 2 home runs, 9 runs, 12 ribbies, a 136 OPS plus. And last but not least, hopefully he can stay healthy this season, Detroit Tigers, Riley Greene, 3 home runs, 7 runs, 5 RBIs, and a 131 OPS plus.
Yeah, I needed to include Riley because, I mean, the 3 home runs is certainly noteworthy. I am a little worried about how long he's going to last, considering, like you pointed out, how long he can stay without injury. So I had to throw him in this week. I think he's worthy with the 3 home runs. I don't think he stands up when we start looking at OPS plus, and you and I our fantasy league our fantasy league never had average as a category. It was always OBP. And then we realized that's also dumb.
Yeah.
OPS is the stat. And then to average that out against the rest of the competition in the current major leagues with OPS plus is a very telling stat. 229 for Gavin Sheets. I'm still marveling at. I mean, the 175 of Conforto is
that's
unreal.
insane.
I mean, I went into this thinking it like Christopher Morel had it hands down with 3 home runs, 11 runs, 10 RBI, and the 141 OPS plus any other week is incredible. I mean, I don't know I don't want to give it to 2 White Sox, but do we have to give it to Gavin Sheets?
It'll be the only time it happens this year. Okay, just to put level set, here you go. You ready? His OBP is 455. His slugging percentage is 704. So his OPS plus is 1158 right now.
His OPS is 1158.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, his OPS is 1158. So, I mean, for the first time in his career, he's got a positive WAR. So, I mean, geez.
Yeah. Morel's, runs and RBIs and, game-winning game-winning grand slam. That's where I want to lean if we're not going to give it to 2 White Sox. But I mean, it's just our dumb badass of the week, so I could live with it if we have to do 2 White Sox. Who is your nomination for badass of the week hitter?
I mean, I struggle between the middle 3. I mean, if we're just going purely like who is overall the best hitter, it's Gavin Sheets. But I think we also have to take into account, like, you got Christopher Morel, who's on a team in first place. And I know it's early in the season or competing for first place and has aspirations of a World Series or, at minimum going to the playoffs this year, not falling short. So there's some pressure there. He's a younger player too, younger than Gavin. Same thing for Conforto. Like he's in the NL West. They have, playoff hopes. For Gavin Sheets, he's playing for his future, sure, but there's not a lot of pressure on him. I would say, I like to take a little bit of that into account, like pressure on a player. So I'm leaning towards Morel and Conforto for this one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I don't know. The old me would be just completely annoyed by Christopher Morel because he's a Cub. But he's a fun fucking dude to watch.
He's got Peter Criss makeup on.
He's got the Peter Criss look. Yeah, he's the cat man. He had a fucking grand slam too. I love grand slams. Who doesn't? Unless they're against you.
Big Denny's fan over there.
Yeah, I love a grand slam. So, as much as this pains me to say, for me, like the 11, he's creating havoc, and he has proven at the start of this season something we talked about in the offseason, how his bat needs to be in the lineup every day, and it has to be. And he is playing up to expectations right now. So, and honestly, he was really set up. If you're thinking about it, like it could be, and there's still a season to play, but this guy's set up for like how he performed, like over expectations, really, even last season, like way ahead of schedule and shit. Like he's totally set up for a letdown, but he's not having a letdown right now. So I don't know. No. I like Christopher Morel for
the only thing he could have a letdown with is his defense, which I was considering at one point, and maybe we'll still do this, but doing a weekly segment and figuring out his home run to error ratio.
That's why you got to keep him at DH.
Yeah, right now it's 3-3. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, which is I guess we'll put up with it if that's what it's going to be. But he's not totally embarrassing himself at third base, so he's making it a little bit easier on Craig Counsell how to keep him in. But fortunately, the Cubs have the DH. The National League has the DH now. They've finally come to their senses. Yeah, he's fucking fun to watch. So I think we want to stand for equality on this podcast. We don't want a terrible White Sox team to run away with both badasses of the week. It wouldn't make much sense. So if we stand for equality, we can throw in a Cub for the second badass of the week, the batter of the week. I can live with that if you want to live with that.
I'll live with it. Christopher Morel is our badass hitter of the week.
Nice. All right. Yeah, this is kind of a weird week, being 2 full weeks essentially.
Yeah,
so I'm wondering how that's going to play out differently next week and throughout the season. But we did it pretty much every week. I think we did it every week last year.
Yep.
Every week we did a podcast. So I thought that worked out well. So hopefully we don't have 10 candidates or whatever we had this week. Make it a little bit clearer who the actual badass of the week really is.
Wordhole Media.